Yeah, imagine that. So we get the scripts, the week before, depending on how tight they are getting them done, because sometimes the writers are really writing right up until table read. I get a script like, hey, this it's always fun. What do I have to do in this script? This has been now going on for years. I'm on the show, and I open it up, and it says Jerry's retirement. And again, insecure actor. I'm like, son of a bitch, because I had heard, I have heard stories of how people have been fired, and they're terrifying. I heard an actor say he heard it on the news, like literally on the news. Nobody
Yeah.
called him, none of his reps, no cast, nobody called him. He heard it on the news that he was leaving the show. That's harsh. Like, that's really tough. And I just thought, wow, this is rough because I love these people, and I kind of thought we had a good thing going on, and I'm not. It wasn't even. I thought, how dare they get rid of me? That's the nature of television. Storylines change. It wasn't that. I just thought, this is how you're telling me. You're not. You're not going to say call me in like a month in advance and say, Jim, listen, we're thinking of this storyline or that storyline, and your character is going to be leaving. I was really hurt. And then I start reading it, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm overthinking this and it's really not what's happening. But let me tell you, when you read that script, it's exactly what's happening. Jerry is leaving the parks department. He's leaving it. There's goodbyes. Amy comes to his house. Now remember, there's only 21 and a half minutes in each episode. Literally, by minute 15, by minute 20, I'm gone. I am gone from that department until the very end when we realize that Ron Swanson is going to bring me back so I can continue to be the Jerry of the office.
Right. Yeah.
And he
That's sort
says,
of the punchline of the whole episode.
exactly. But imagine reading that script. That doesn't come in. There's nothing telling you before that that's what
It's a
this
total
ending is
fake
going to
out.
be. It was a fake out. And they knew exactly what they were doing. And by that, I mean, they were busting my balls. I mean,
Yeah. The whole
which
episode was sort of designed to bust your balls, you think?
well, who knows about that? But they didn't want to tell me because they could have said to me, Jim, listen, there's a script coming out called Jerry's Retirement. Don't worry, you're not going anywhere. That
Yeah.
is
But
not
no
what they
one said
did.
that.
There, and then I get to the table reading, and Morgan Sackett again because first of all, no one likes busting balls more than I do, and I also like getting my own balls busted. Like I am an equal opportunity. So when
Hmm.
I realized what was going on, I of course loved it, but they got
Yeah.
me. They got me 100%. I read the script and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. He's leaving. He's gone. Leslie comes to visit him at his house because she felt bad about how it ended. He's gone until the very last scene and Ron makes it all better. Yeah, so yeah, they got me. And I loved it.
It's so funny. Like we just had Timothy Simons on the show from Veep,
Yeah,
whose character is very famous for getting insulted the entire
of course.
series,
Yes.
and it did make me think of your character as well and how mean everybody is to Jerry on the
I
show,
know.
and whether that ever sort of hit you in a you said you like you're getting your balls busted, but did anything ever go too far in the scripts or something where you go, oh come on guys, like are you really going to make me do that or say that about me?
Here's the thing. It went too far sometimes for the other cast members, never for me. There was
Yeah.
no, like again, Amy and I were just rehashing all this recently, and her and Pratt in particular would be very like, Jim, are you okay with this? Is this bit okay? I'm like, are you kidding me? I live for this stuff. There was never a bit that I thought was too far. The only bit that I was uncomfortable with, and this is just because you know, fat hairy guy. There's a scene where I'm in a tub and without my shirt. And I've my career, if anyone who's followed me at all, I I am a big guy. There's no secret there, and I play characters who are big people because that's what Jim O'Hare is. But I've never wanted or felt like I mocked that. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
use it for so anyway because I have my own issues with all that. Body images and all that kind of stuff. So that was the toughest scene I shot was probably I had to take my shirt off and get in that tub. And what's come from that scene is that I've become known as I'm going to screw this up, a silver, a bear. Anyway, cut to the chase. I'm very popular in the gay world of bears. Like I've
Yeah.
become very, very popular. So, and someone said to me, "Does that bother you?" I go, "Are you kidding me? Someone who thinks I'm attractive in any way? I'm on board. I don't care if it's who, I don't care who it is. God bless them." So yeah, that was it. But no, but like Pratt would say to me, "Oh, Jimmy, this one seems really tough." Like whatever the bit would be, and I'd go, "Dude, it's funny, and we're all making a decent paycheck. It's all good." Yeah. So no, Matt, I never ever had an issue, but sometimes other cast members would be worried about me. They would. Amy always checked in, like the scene where the mugging episode where I bend over, my pants split, and I fart. Amy's like, "Are you okay with that? Are you comfortable?" I go, "Oh my God, I was born for this. Are you kidding me? I was born for this." So no, I never ever had any issues. I actually loved when Mike said at one point he had to say to the writers, "Okay, they were spending so much time coming up with Jerry mean bits against Jerry." He's like, "Okay, enough. We have plenty. Let's continue." And then also it worked in my favor because they were so rotten at Jerry that Mike and Greg and the powers that be decided if we want this guy to stick around, we got to give him a reason that he hasn't killed himself. And then enter Christy Brinkley and
Yeah.
these three gorgeous daughters. So it all worked out. And
And they gave
ultimately,
you a gift.
they gave me a gift. And ultimately, Jerry has the best life of all of them. I mean, he
Hmm.
knows what's
Hmm.
important in life, and he loves his coworkers, and he knows what it's all about. There's a talking head where Ron Swanson says every office has a schlemiel and a schlemazel.
Yep.
Jerry is both in our office. And Jerry knew it. And there's also, at the end of the episode where he's sitting there he's got his arm in a sling from the supposed mugging. And April brings him a latte, which Jerry's like, "What?" Like, she's being so nice to me. And of course, the lid opens up and it pours all over Jerry. And Jerry's just like, "Go ahead." And then Leslie comes out, "Hey, let's make fun of Jerry again." And it just meant everything was back in order. And Jerry, I believe Jerry was fine with it. He knew what was important in life and he had it.
I was curious about the Christy Brinkley casting,
Yeah.
sort of when you found out about that, and do you know if there were any other, incredibly beautiful supermodel type people that they considered to be Jerry's wife?
Well, I found out about it, Mike, after a table read one day. He said, "Listen, we're thinking, we're going to get you a wife," which again, lovely. Yes, that means
Yeah,
security. You're,
more
you're
evidence.
more evidence that Jerry's here. And I said, "Oh, wow. Okay." And I'll be honest, I assumed, it's going to be someone my age and it's going to be maybe not, certainly not a supermodel. That would, they were, I don't want to be crass, but the opposite of that is what I was thinking would happen. And when there had been talk about who Jerry's wife could be, because, they pitch ideas and everything, Amy pitched a hysterical idea, but thank God it didn't go this way. Amy pitched an idea that what if, because Jerry at work is so, put upon or whatever, the punching bag at work, what if when he comes home, his family is just terrified? And this is just a funny bit she's thinking. Like, what if she's some scrawny little woman who's chain smoking because she's so nervous? Oh my God, he's home. He's like, because it's just terrible at home. But thankfully, we didn't go that way.
Yeah,
So
that's a little dark for the show.
that's too dark. Yeah. But, and just, for people who want to know what kind of stuff went on our set, we created this thing called Dark Parks. And we would sit around between takes and come up with the darkest shit you have ever heard that these
Like
characters
what?
did. I'm telling you, Matt, some of it's filthy. There's murders. There's people sleeping with this one and anything. And we would laugh. And then there would just be a moment you go, "Dark Parks." Like it was just Dark Parks. So anyway, so Mike says to me one day, "So listen, we're thinking a Christy Brinkley type." What? Like literally kaboom in my head. Wow, yeah, okay. And then he explained, blah blah blah. So the way it works with casting is you kind of here's your dream person. In this case, it's Christy Brinkley. You never generally think you're going to get that person because a lot of times they're working, they have other obligations, and if they're famous, you don't know. I mean, there's a million reasons why you aren't going to get that person. But you generally reach out to that person, and then their reps will tell you, "Oh, thank you so much for your interest, but our client is working on this or working on that." But what happened with Parks, as I found out later, they reach out to Christy, again, just because you do. And she knew nothing about Parks, had never heard of the show. But she mentioned it to her daughter, Sailor. And Sailor was a big fan. And she said, they want me to do this show called Parks and Recreation. And Sailor was like, oh my God, Mom, I love that show. Oh my God, you got to do that show. And she said, oh, I don't know. And then Sailor said, and Sailor told me all this later. Sailor said to her mom, what role? And she said, well, they want me to be somebody's wife. And Sailor said she started thinking in her head, like, okay, he's committed. And she goes,
Yeah, who could it
Jerry
be?
Gergich? And she goes, yes, Gergich. And she goes, oh, Mom, oh my God, you got to do it. So that is why Christy even did the show, because her daughter was a big fan. And then Sailor would come, she'd fly in with her because she just wanted to be on set with everybody because she loved the show. But my understanding is they reached out to Christy and just a bunch of other top models. I didn't hear any names specifically because Christy was on board. It took
Yeah,
away, and again, I also had a fear, again, Jim O'Heir, body issues and every other crazy issue in my head. I was nervous on our first day because, Christy Brinkley is Christy Brinkley. I used to have, she had this red bathing suit. It was a one-piece bathing suit that was a poster that she had when I was young. Because Christy is, well, I'm not sure exactly, but she's older than me. And I had it on my wall. And now this woman is about to play my wife. Like it was just,
yeah, it's surreal.
it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal. But then I'm also thinking, I felt bad for her. Like, here she's this Christy Brinkley, and she's about to play my wife. And then I felt bad for her for that. And so the first day that she was going to be on set, I see her, a car pulls up and she gets out of it. And I was like, oh, this poor thing. Because she's stunning. She's just stunning. And she's looking around, whatever. And then she looks and we catch eyes and she goes, oh, is that my Mr. Gergich? And she runs over. She gives me the biggest hug. And it was just so sweet because it took away my insecurities about would she even be embarrassed that she's playing this role against me because, she looks how she looks, I look how I look. And anyway, she was sunshine. She is Amy would always say her smile lit up a room. It's just who she is. So it was perfect. It was perfect. I was so grateful. We had a mini reunion. Kate Flannery from The Office, who played Meredith, was doing Dancing with the Stars. And so I showed up to see Kate, and Christy was supposed to do Dancing with the Stars. She broke her arm or something, so her daughter Sailor took over for her. So anyway, there was a mini reunion. I just love her. It was a gift that she got to play. And one of my favorite running gags throughout the whole show is how, Adam Scott, Ben, cannot
Hmm.
understand how Jerry is married to Gail. It makes no
Yeah.
sense in his head. And he's literally losing sleep. Like he has said, I've lost sleep trying to figure this out. And I love that.
You talk a little bit about the series finale in the book. I have a theory of the finale that I mentioned to Mike Schur, and he would neither confirm nor deny. But
Oh, let me
similar to
hear.
the 6 Feet Under finale, which you mentioned as another perfect finale,
Yes.
where I always saw that as the character of Claire imagining the future of all these people instead of actually what happened.
Oh,
And in the same
interesting.
way, there's sort of a theory, and I don't think I'm the only one who have mentioned this, that the Parks finale is actually Leslie Knope sort of imagining her ideal, optimistic version of the outcome for all these people, including your story where you're the mayor until you're 100 years old and you die
Yeah.
in this perfect, beautiful way. So I was curious if you had any thoughts about my theory.
Okay, Matt, I have to tell you, I've never heard that. And
So
that is
maybe
not,
maybe I am the only one who's thought of this.
no, 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 but I will tell you, it's got my head spinning a little bit.
Yeah,
That's really interesting. But I also never thought that Claire, because
yeah,
I really think the 6 Feet Under ending is
yeah. It's
wow,
perfect.
just a
Yeah,
perfect series finale. And I think series finales are tough. Like I think they're a
right.
tough thing. You have an audience that has been with the show for however long they've been with them, and everyone is going to have their opinion. And I think 6 Feet Under, wow. I mean, I remember just crying watching Six Feet.
Yeah,
I don't think
yep.
I'd ever cried during an episode of 6 Feet Under, but that finale it got me. And I also think, and I say this with all credit to Mike and Greg and all the writers, I think Parks had close to a perfect finale also. I had nothing to do with it. I was just given the gift of those words and my storyline, but I think they nailed it. Certain shows that I am obsessed with, Seinfeld, and there's for me the endings weren't perfect.
Right.
That's subjective. Someone else could say you're out of your mind. That was the perfect ending. God bless. But I really feel the ending on Parks, they nailed it. But wow, you're kind of blowing my mind here. That is really interesting. But I don't want that to be true because I want what happened to have really
Yeah.
happened. I want Jerry to have been that mayor for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I want Tom to have had a lot of failures and then eventual big success. I want Leslie and Ben to be, we don't know exactly who they are, but something's going on because there appear to be Secret Service around
Yeah.
them.
I love that little touch.
Yeah, and I want all that. So you know what? I negate your thoughts,
All right.
and
All
you
right.
are
You
wrong,
know better
Matt.
than me.
I know better than you, and you are wrong. Damn you.